Hey, Mike, 212 and 222.
What the heck are you talking about?
Are you even listening, bro?
What?
Exactly. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Oh, I don't even know if it sounds good or not. I should probably listen to it. I think I should.
You remember that show? Are we recording?
Yeah. I don't know where to put stuff like this. Like, this is great stuff. Hey guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to My Wife Still Likes Me. We are talking about communication. My name's Jeff. That's Mike, and we are gonna just, in the words of Philip DeFranco, jump right into it. But I'm not gonna punch you in the throat. If you don't know what that is, when you're not with your kids, go watch that show. Anyway, today we're going to talk about communication. I have a lot of thoughts on communication. My wife probably has a lot of thoughts about my lack of communication. But we're going to jump into it. We will explain what 212 is and 222. But first, Mike, I have two questions today.
Two today.
From Uncommon Questions. If you don't know what this is, go to Amazon. I forget how much this is. Not sponsored, by the way. Uncommon Questions. They're random topics to talk about with your spouse, and they will be fun. Oh, it just says Uncommon Questions, Couples Edition.
Oh, okay.
That would imply there's a not Couples Edition. I think there's a Kids Edition. Anyway, what is your favorite sound, and what is your least favorite sound?
Oh, good grief. So, my favorite sound now in the house is the sound of silence.
Are you singing the song in your head?
I'm singing that. It's rolling in my head. It's rolling in my head right now. But
Is it the Disturbed version or the Trolls version?
That's a rough choice. It's a rough choice. I mean,
because Anna Kendrick, she does okay.
she does okay. But I mean, my era, my background, the music I used to listen to, I would go more of the Disturbed version. But
My wife is upstairs shaking her head right now. The fact that I just made a Trolls reference in an adult-themed movie.
whatever.
Yeah.
It's family friendly.
Yes. No, I spend way too much time watching Disney movies. That's the problem.
I have grandkids. I love the Trolls. Come on now. No, but the sound of silence. It really
Yeah.
is. They talk about, silence, the sound of silence. It's a golden thing. It really is. And I would have to say the sound that irritates me the most, well, I probably have a couple. I mean, that alarm clock that goes off in the morning, hey, it's time to get up and go to work. That's pretty irritating. But I know you have kids, I have kids, I have grandkids. It's that high pitched squeal, as they're running through the house, and you're just kind of like, it's nails on the chalkboard to some people, and that's me. I love them, but there's a point where it's like, please go to sleep. It's time for bed. Something like that. Whatever the case may be, just please go to the other room. Whatever. But it's literally the sound of silence and that high-pitched squeal that, I mean, I don't have girls, or I'm sorry, I have girls, but I don't have boys, so I don't know if your boy ever did that.
He's not hit puberty yet, so yeah,
Okay,
we can do that. Yeah.
Okay. But that's where I'm at. I'm like, okay, just real quick, I'm the only male in a house full of females. There are 7 people in my home.
Oh, I said a joke one time to somebody. It was a long time ago. It was like the first or second time I ever preached, and I asked a question, and somebody answered it or something and I said, "You live in the estrogen ocean,
Right? I'm floating in it."
He's dad in a family of all girls.
And that's me, man. I went out and got a dog. I went out and got a male dog just so I could have somebody, I could talk with that understands.
Yeah.
But, to talk with, hey, we're talking about communication this week, and that's, those questions. I love these questions from Uncommon Questions, the Couples Edition. But that's me. I mean, I sit there and I think about it, and I know when everybody goes to bed at night, and I can sit down there with my wife and I look at her and I go, "Do you hear that?" And she looks at me with that confused face, and I go, "It's quiet. It's quiet."
Yeah.
And then we both get that big grin. But what's your answers on this?
So my favorite sound, and I can't believe I didn't talk about this last week, but I've been a drummer for like 20 years.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So my favorite sound, I gotta be honest. So I have a snare. It's called a porcupine, and it's a super
No
skinny
idea what
snare.
that
Yeah,
is
it's
about
just
you.
a brand name, but it sounds really good. But there's an Australian company that makes this thing. It's called Big Fat Snare Drum, and it's a I think it's a muffle. I don't really know what it's called. Okay. I don't know what that means. My computer's going nuts. But anyway, that's not my favorite sound. It's not my least favorite sound,
okay.
but it's not my favorite sound either.
I thought I was having an idea there for a second.
No. Hey, wouldn't that be awesome? Anyway, when you put this muffle thing on top of it, it gives it the big fat snare drum sound. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm air quoting. But it's just this super big, and I don't know how to describe it in normal words, but it's a super big sound, and just the crack of a snare when you hit it with all of this stuff together, like it's beautiful. Because a good snare drum makes a drum kit.
Nice.
A good drummer also makes a good drum kit, but my 7-year-old hitting the snare drum sounds good. Like, it's amazing. My least favorite sound, and I'm going to hate all of you for this for the rest of my life, desperately, but the Phenomena song from the Muppets.
Oh, I'm singing it now. I'm singing it.
I hate that. Like, oh, it drives me nuts.
Phenomena.
Yeah, that part. The rest of the song not so bad, but you need that part to make the. Oh, I hate that.
Right?
Yeah, I think
Oh, that's perfect.
Kim knew that, and in good fun, like she would sing it like once every couple of months for like the first 10 years we were married. I'm like, would you just like legit that like I get angry at that? Would you please stop?
You know, there's going to be a ton of quotes
Yes,
now, comments coming in with that.
Bring
in
it
there.
on.
Oh, that's awesome. That's going to be great.
It all better be in good fun though.
Oh, of course.
But that is my favorite sound and least favorite sound. We'll move that over there for next week. I think my wife just called me, but I don't really know what happened. For those of you that don't know, there's eyeballs peeking around the corner. We're in my living room. Anyway, and the dog just walked by. So, thoughts on communication. For me, there's a lot of different levels of communication. How do you fight? How do you talk about money? How do you talk about this, that, or the other thing? Like, pick an area of life and relationship. How do you communicate in it? So when I was thinking about just thoughts on general communication, a general understanding about what's going on in each other's lives. And then we can break that down into anything. So for us, my wife and I, one of the things we like to do, and I don't know where this fits in the show, but 212, which is the thing I yelled out at the beginning. Twice in the morning, once in the afternoon, twice at the end of the day.
Okay, this is family friendly, so.
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
Good grief. 212. It's actually something that we use at one of my old jobs that we check in with clients twice at the beginning of the show, once in the middle of the show, and once at the end of the show. For work, it's to get good reviews and to make sure the client has everything they need. For family, it's I check in with my wife twice in the morning, I check in with her once in the middle of the day, and I check in with her twice at the end of the day.
Nice.
And sometimes it's, hey, what are you doing? What are you up to? And sometimes it's just like, hey, I'm done at the grocery store. I'm going to Mike's house. And it's not demanded. It's not expected. And that's like, we've had conversations in the past, like, it's like, hey, you have to do this, or I don't want to do that. It's just like our spouses, and my wife hasn't asked me to, like, it's not something that's been required. But it's just like she's genuinely interested in what's going on. Like, she likes to be around. We like to be together. So, like, what's going on in your day? Like, it's been difficult now because of COVID, because my wife doesn't go to the office anymore. But when she used to have a 30 or 40-minute ride home, she would call me and just tell me about the day. It's her 30 minutes to decompress. I can't promise I was always listening or even really understood what she was talking about, but it's a genuine understanding that, hey, you need 30 minutes of just to decompress. Like, here's how my day went. And that's not to say, like, when we do that for our wives, like, don't expect your wife to be able to repeat everything you said about your day at work, because she's not an electronics engineer.
Right.
Or, you know, when I talk about tech stuff, oh, my wife's a tech nerd, so this is a bad example. My wife works in a financial industry, so when she's talking about money, I'll take your word for it. But I can't contribute to the conversation, but I can listen, which leads us to the topic, if you will, about communication is important. And we'll talk about like kids and schedules and finances or what car to take when you're going to do this thing or that thing. But listening to listen, listening for advice, or listening to fix it. And I'd want to hear your thoughts on it. But when I think listen to listen, I think just like listening, like, hey, shut up. You need to just listen to me talk.
Absolutely.
Oh, we were going to talk about the video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk about the video in a minute. Listening for advice. Like, I don't want you to fix it, but what do you think? Like, okay, that requires a response. And then listening to fix it. And there's no need to remind us about it every 6 months. But no, I'm totally kidding. But listening to fix it, like, hey, I have this problem. I need your help. I don't want to just know what you think, but I need you to help me.
Right.
And I think a lot of times I jump to straight to I want to help. And that's not always what our wives need or necessarily want. They just want to talk. So for us, for my wife and I, that was the 30-minute ride home. She doesn't need me to say anything. She doesn't even need me to respond. And she certainly doesn't need me to fix it. I just need to be quiet and say, every so often. I gotta be honest, there's times where I probably put the phone down and go to the bathroom or like put it on speakerphone and kept working. And she knows this. Like, we've talked about this. Like, I've told her, like, hey, I know you need this. And I know that I don't have to respond, but I value your time. But just know that, like, if you don't really need me to respond, I'm going to listen. Like, I've got the phone on, but I'm going to keep working. And, like, she'll stop and be like, hey, what do you want for dinner? And, like, she'll pause and, like, change the subject. Or she'll be like, hey, I need you to pay attention, like, actually for a second. And I think that's missing a lot. And that's probably the number one issue. At least that's the number one issue I get requested about is, like, communication. Is being open with that stuff. But as men, we need to be okay with not fixing or answering the problem.
Right.
What do you think?
Honestly, for me, I know where you're coming from. I think back to early on in my marriage, my wife and I worked opposite schedules. I worked an evening shift, she worked a morning shift, and we rarely got to see each other. And the communication side lacked severely. Usually I would call. My lunchtime would be about when the kids were going to bed, and it would be like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Well, I'm fixing kids dinner, getting them ready for bed. Okay, well, I love you type of thing. I had a short lunch. It was half an hour. And, that it was nice to hear the kids, hey, good night, Dad, I love you. And I loved, telling them good night, but there was not really any long communication on my way home then. She was asleep, so there was no communication on the way home. And when I'm going to work, she's already at work, so it's not like she can stop and talk.
Be cutting hair and be like,
yeah, hold on a second. Oops. Oh, hey, that's not quite straight, but if you keep your head to the left, it'll look fine. No, but, I sit there and I look at it, and there was times, the communication side, it came about as to where there was times I didn't want to talk or answer the phone because all I was getting was, hey, talk to your children, they're being bad. Rather than saying, hey, let's talk about this. This is what's going on, and I would like you to back me up on this. And, there for a while.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I learned over a long period of time.
Sure.
And again, we've talked about on other episodes, my kids are adults now. They're in their 20s. Last month, my youngest turned 25. So it's taken a long time.
I was like, man, I am not that much older than your kids.
Right. So you should listen. Should listen more. But I mean, I look at it, and over the years, it's that became a habit for me. Okay, well, whatever. I'll get through it. I don't have to talk to her. And we were strangers early on in our marriage, really. And that's where I felt a lot of our problems. When I can look back, and I mean, when I look back, years later, years before, and I sit there and I'm like, okay, that's where the problems happen. I didn't communicate.
Sure.
And that's me. I mean, I don't blame anybody for it. I blame me. I didn't communicate. I didn't know how to communicate. And I think, on this episode, it's going to be great to just sit there and kind of touch on some ideas to maybe kickstart some conversations with our spouses.
Yeah.
And just to know that, hey, like we said before, it's 100% and 100%. We got to be on the same page, doing the same thing, going in the same direction, or else we're going to get torn apart. So, my communication, I can sit here and go, okay, like you're talking about with your wife, and she's talking to you on the way home. Well, I still go into work, and I still have a 25-minute drive home. And right now, Stephanie will close up her shop, my wife, and as we almost get off at the same time, and it's great because we both have about the same distance drive, and we can talk to each other. And it's, she'll talk to me and be like, hey, how was your day? Oh, this is what's going on. This is what I did. How was yours? And we can vent. We can like decompress, like you said. And just to have that when we get home, you're not carrying that.
Sure. Yeah.
It's amazing how much that helps a marriage, is just to open up and just talk.
And it's not, I put this in a different note page and I don't have it. It's a genuine interest. It's not that I need to know every single detail, but that maybe there was something frustrating for either of you at work that day. And it's not that they need an answer or need it to be fixed. They just need to tell somebody. And if you're a Friends fan, do you watch Friends? Have you ever watched Friends? Okay, this won't make any sense to you. But somebody will get this. My wife and I joke that we're each other's lobsters. And that's not going to make any sense. But that's that connection. Like, you make that connection. Like, you're my person, soulmate, whatever, love of your life, lobster. It's a Phoebe. Phoebe says it all the time. Anyway, I know it's from Friends. That's my play in the background while I'm working noise. Friends. Not sponsored. I don't know if we're supposed to say that. Please don't get mad at us for talking about TV shows. Anyway, that's like, it's the listen for advice, listen to fix it. A lot of the communication that I think we get from our wives is not that we need to fix it. And it sounds bad when I say it, not that they even want our opinion. They might, and they'll ask for it. And in most cases, that's the case with my wife. When she really wants to know what I think, she'll ask me.
Absolutely.
But a lot of times, she's just talking to let it out. Just wherever. And we probably do it as guys, too. I don't know. I'm sure, we just talk to talk. What is happening? Sorry, I don't think you guys can hear it, but there are a lot of weird noises going along right now. I think my dog's outside playing with toys. Anyway, yeah. But 212, just a good start, if you will. Just a checking in, genuine concern for our spouses is twice in the morning, once in the afternoon, and twice at the end of the day. And that's not necessarily like text messages. Like, one of the ways that I check in with my wife first thing in the morning, I get up several hours before she does. She doesn't have to work until 10, so she doesn't have to be up when the kids get up with the sun at 4:35, whatever. So I get up with the kids. And when she first gets up in the morning, I usually make coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I assume I make coffee. I'd put the pot does most of it. Anyway, and I go out and just say, hey, how you doing? Do you need anything? Coffee will be done in a little bit. And, kiss on the forehead, whatever, brush your teeth. Yeah. And then I go back about my day. And then she'll come down and we say hi. That's the second one. And they might be like back to back, but twice in the morning, just, hey, what's going on? How you doing? How's your day? Or what's your plan for the day? We like to do that because she has certain meetings she can't get out of. And then usually, like you've been while we've been sitting here recording, she comes down and has lunch. Hey, what's going on? How's the rest of your day? And then 2 more times I'll do that before the end of the day. I go to bed before she does because I get up before she does. And I just hey, I'm going to bed. Now for us, we're in bed, physically in bed. And I'm just, okay, I'm done snuggling, whatever. Big spoon, little spoon, whatever. I'm done. I'm going to sleep. Yeah. That's another Friends reference. I do the hug and roll. I hug and I roll over to my side of the bed. And that's okay. But we also we have a king size bed and it's hot, at least, air conditioning a giant house. Yeah. It's not a giant house. Air conditioning my house is expensive. Yeah. And it's hot. So I sleep on my side of the bed. She sleeps on her side of the bed. But 212, practical, thing that, I mean, any of us can try. Check in with your spouse twice in the morning, once at lunch, and twice in the evening. They can be text messages. Like back when my wife went to the office every day, I checked in with her in the morning when she got up, and I'd send her a text when I got hungry, like 10 or 11. Hey, what's going on?
Right.
But not expect a response, because like my wife can't look at her phone at work.
Oh, yeah.
Well, neither can yours, because oops.
Yeah. and there's times, she'll text me, and it's like, oh, okay. And there's times I can't answer my phone or I don't see it till later. But I mean, that's the thing is, as long as there's that open line of communication. So you covered 212. What's the 222 about?
222. What is happening? I feel like I'm playing Snake on my computer. Sorry. I don't know. Dude, you got to look at this. I'll talk about 222, but I was trying to type and that's what happened. I don't know what happened. Right. Anyway, 222.
So you weren't listening. You were playing
You're
games.
Right. I wasn't. No, you asked me about it. I was looking at it and I was going to type in notes. 222. I think I'm going to get this right. I don't remember exactly, but it was once every 2 weeks, you take a date night. Yeah. Once every 2 weeks, you take a date night. Once every 2 months, you take a weekend. And then every 2 years, you take a long vacation without your children, like just you and your spouse. I think I got that right. I have a different one for like my work schedule. But every other week, you take a day to go you take a date night. Absolutely. Date night. Schedule your date nights. You can schedule other important happy time things too. But schedule your date nights. Doesn't mean you don't go out on dates at other times. Like guys, gals, you don't box it in. Schedule them, but that doesn't mean like, ooh, we don't have any kids today, but it's not your date night. Go out.
Still go out, yeah.
Once every 2 months, take a weekend. Like, take a weekend for your mental health. Take a weekend, and then every 2 years, take a long vacation without your children. On the other ones, you can take your children, but anyway.
Yeah, and
so
wow.
That one's not from work. That's just, I saw that somewhere. I don't know who to give credit to. I think it was TikTok. Don't get me started on that one. But I think I got that from TikTok. I screenshot it on my phone somewhere. But 212 is twice in the morning, once in the afternoon, twice at night. 222. So remember all the twos. Breaks. Take time with your spouse. Take dates. What's his name? Steve Austin. Awesome dude. He dated his, is it late wife? Is that the right way to say that? She passed away.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, Steve is an awesome man, and he used to talk about one of the things that he did was he would literally on his way home from work, he would call his wife, like, hey, baby, how you doing? This is how he says it, too. I'm not paraphrasing this. He would say it. He'd say, hey, baby, how you doing? And he'd set up a date with his wife. They've been married forever.
That's awesome.
Like, do that stuff. And but them, like, I would love to have him on the show one time to just talk about, like communication.
He's an amazing man.
He is. Anyway, but date. I don't know how that ties into communication, but talk to each other.
Well, you got to talk while you're dating.
So my wife and I call them strategy meetings. Our date night that we get without our kids. We go out with our kids all the time. Not 2020, train wreck, whatever.
Right.
But before all of this, we would go out all the time. But I have a lot of extended family here in the Valley, and they love, like, we have negotiated with each other. Like, we all have kids. We rotate date nights. So I watch everybody's kids. They go on dates. They watch my kids, so I can go on dates. We call them strategy meetings. We talk. How's your month been? What's something you want to try to do? What are your goals? How can we help each other be better people and be better parents along the way? Which is kind of like what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But you got to talk about it, because if you don't talk about it, you don't know where you're going.
Definitely.
Anyway,
I like that.
That's 212 and 222. Practical ways to talk and be present in your relationship.
Definitely. I think that's a great way to put it. I mean, you can sit there and look at it and go, okay, let's talk. I mean, you have to talk to make the date.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do when you're on the date? Just eat?
I guess you couldn't, but that brings a whole new definition to Netflix and chill.
But
that's not what we're about. We're about talking to people.
Absolutely. It's communication.
Oh, you're going to get in so much trouble.
But yeah, I mean, this is a great step. This is something to learn, something to, for you guys out there that are watching this, that are listening to this, whatever, just take the 212 and 222 challenge. Let's call it that. Yeah. It's the challenge. Leave your comments or messages. leave your comments and messages. Hey, how did this go? Hey, the first time, hey, I text my wife or I called my wife, things like that. Let us know, give that advice to somebody else, somebody who else is walking this path of marriage. Let them know.
I got to be honest. I don't know that my wife knows that I do that, like on purpose.
Oh, and they don't
Which
need
is
to know.
probably
They don't
not a
need to
bad
know.
thing. Well, she's going to know now. I assume she watches the show. I really don't
Hopefully.
know.
I mean, I don't know if she does. I don't know if mine does, but
Honey, I love you. But she can hear me say that. She's upstairs.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if she knows I do that on purpose. I've never told her. Like, it's something like I thought about. I took that work thing and I was like, oh, I can remember that. 212.
Yeah.
It's an area code. I don't remember why it's an area code, but it's an area. It's like 602, 623, whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, 212.
Definitely.
Anyway, we are way over on taking your time for today.
Absolutely.
But thank you. If you stuck around this long, you must like what we're talking about. I hope you like what we're talking about. If not, tell us. And I don't know what happens after you tell us, but
we'll take it under advisement.
No, seriously. We want this to be a community. So like, subscribe, send us a comment, send us a message. I don't know what's happening on the floor upstairs. There are noises. I'm going to go check on them. But like, comment, subscribe, let us know a topic or an idea if you have something you want to talk about. If you have questions, we don't know the answers, but we want to help you find the resources. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for watching this.
Yeah.
Let us know if it helps,
Or if it doesn't help.
Yeah, either way. I mean, we want to know. I mean, and again, we're not professionals. We're not doing this, for our jobs or anything like that. This is just advice.
I want to see
our opinions.
I want to see how many Muppet Baby memes I get this week.
You're going to get a lot.
Yeah.
Phenomena.
Oh my gosh. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.